Welcome to another episode of Preparing for the Unexpected. I'm your host, Alex Fullick, and as always, we like to talk about things related to resilience, business continuity, supply chain management, emergency management, anything that helps you, your organization, or your community prepare for, respond to, and overcome adverse situations. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please feel free. You can find me on LinkedIn. I am the only Alex Fullick there. I'm really easy to find, and I do respond to everything I get. Today, you may recognize my guest if you're watching on YouTube. He's back for, and I counted, fifth time. I'd like to welcome back to the show the author of his latest book, My Experiments with Third-Party Risk Management, Professor Daman Dev Sood. Daman, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you here again for your fifth time, and congratulations on the new book.
Thank you. Happy to be talking to you, Alex.
And we're going to be talking about that book today.
All right.
So we're going to get dive deep into all the things that you wrote about here. There's lots of great information in here. So we're going to share some of that with all of our listeners and viewers today. So
Okay.
why don't we jump in? Because, well, like I said, you've been here five times. I don't think I need to introduce you anymore and have you go through all your big list of things. We know you're a recurring person here. So why don't we jump straight into your topic of your book? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so my first question is going to be pretty obvious. What is third-party risk management?
Thanks, Alex. Well, this phrase or topic is old in the industry, in the corporate corridors, but I believe that it has been ignored or has not been taken seriously. I'm not putting any allegations to the corporate world. We all are part of it, you and me also. But then let's say it get or got ignored so far. So that's why I decided to go deep into this. So when we say third party risk management, I suggest let's drop third and party from this, first of all. So we are left with risk management, the old risk management with the old three major steps: identify, evaluate, and mitigate. Just that the focus is specifically on third parties now. So this is what I would say third party risk management. When we start going deep with respect to risks with and for third parties.
So what's the difference then with vendor management? Because our
Yes,
vendors third parties?
yes, vendors are one of the third parties. This is what I would like to say. Again, perhaps in the world, we have mixed these two, or we say third party risk management, but we mean vendor management only. Vendor management. Now, vendor management is big. Risk management within that would be small portion. And that's why, because it's small portion in the big vendor management, perhaps again, we wouldn't pay a lot of attention to this. So I'll say vendor management may not necessarily include vendor risk management deeply. It also depends upon who is doing it. For example, it may be traditionally the procurement department who generally deal with the vendors,
Mhm.
and their focus will be just to get the work done at the lowest cost. And in that attempt, they may ignore some or all risks. And there are, when I say third party, they are more than vendors.
So what you mentioned at the beginning, because I know we're going to jump into a little bit more of that, that you felt that over time, until recently, a lot of the third-party risk management has been ignored, third parties. Why do you think they were kind of thinking that way? Is it because of what the point you just mentioned about cost to get the cheapest one? So, leave it at that. As long as you get the cheapest vendor, we're happy.
Yes, I will say to the extent. And that's why I would say when the person or department changes, the focus changes. For the procurement department, and again, I'll say we, the people who were dealing with them, we had given them one parameter, which is cost. At which time, perhaps we would have added quality also into that. An element of risk would have stayed always. But now, with the times changing, we are putting more stress on risk management. And that's why how perhaps it becomes a different or a new department or team, at least, I would say. We need to go deep into this. So recently I was talking for the professional fellows from BCA UAE chapter, and one of the questions there came that Daman, it appears that it'll remain to be on paper. Why do we need to go to fourth, fifth, sixth? You have not asked this question, but when we say third parties or vendors, right, it's not third party. We need to go to fourth, fifth, sixth also. And there's a lot happening in this space in the world, from regulations also. Now, many regulators are issuing guidelines, but some are issuing mandates also. And there's a big difference between a guidance or guideline and a mandate.
Can you explain the
Even if
differences?
there is, sorry.
Okay, when you get a moment, could you explain those differences?
So guidelines is prepared, I would say perhaps a set of good practices also, expectations of the regulator. That's much better word. Expectations of the regulator. That's a guideline issue. The one you can follow these to be good in this particular area. For example, third party risk management. Mandate is that you will be inspected upon. You will be asked questions about this. You have to do this. An example is Bank of England. Operational resilience is a mandate. In India, equivalent regulator, Reserve Bank of India, the regulator for the financial sector, has issued a guidance or guide note only. Bank of Ireland has issued a guidance only. It's not a mandate. So
I think
times have
some
been
people get
changing.
those mixed up because I
Yes,
know quite a few people who think they see a guideline and they interpret it as a mandate.
right. Exactly. And perhaps even the regulators.
Yeah,
So, an example comes from India. As I understand, as people have been sharing, once again, example from the financial sector and the regulator being RBI, that there is a BCM guideline issued. But the one RBI comes and audits us and asks questions also, which I expect on this operational resilience and operational risk management guidance also. That it's a guidance guideline, but there will be questions asked because the regulator wants us to be better. I understand their intentions also. It's only that I wouldn't know the reasons why they issue guidance, not the mandate. There would be some reasons internally. But for that reason, I like mandates better than guidelines.
then everyone is doing the same thing
Exactly.
rather than,
And taking it seriously. The guideline can be
yeah,
ignored also. As myself, I'm saying, yes, you have issued a guideline. It's up to me whether I want to follow it or not, and to what extent.
right.
But mandate, because you will be asking me questions later, so I will be following it thoroughly.
Yeah, thou must have, not if it fits for you, you might use
Exactly.
have. Yeah,
Exactly.
I can see
Yeah.
see that where a mandate would help. Is mandate good across the board, or are there different mandates for different industries or different organizations? Because I think that's why some places put out guidelines, is will you pick and choose what works best for you, but then what if you pick the wrong thing? Mandate
Exactly.
gives you a framework.
Yes. So I'd like to start by saying, Alex, that to my knowledge, as of now, there is no ISO standard for TPRM, third party risk management, the topic that we have picked up for ourselves today. Not to my knowledge. There is no direct guideline or mandate either, perhaps. But there are so many in the world of operational resilience. I'm aware of about 20, it seems.
Wow.
There are some standards. Even if you start from ISO 22301, for example, it would talk about vendors. It may not say third parties specifically. And that's why perhaps that evolution is happening and we are moving specifically into third party risk management world. Any guideline or any mandate that I'm aware of on operational resilience is talking of third party risk management now specifically. And the reflection, one of the reflection in that BCI UAE chapter session was, the money it may remain on paper. How can we go that deep? You're saying fourth, fifth, sixth party. And my response would be that there were times, even for BCM, we just used to ask the one, do you have it? And I would say yes or no.
Yep,
So
I
if
remember
I
that.
say I'm good, I'm saying I'm good, you will be a little less assured of my goodness. If someone else says the one is good, you will be much assured. And then if the one shows I'm certified good, then you will be the getting the best assurance about the one's goodness. So this is how we have moved up slowly, and that's what is happening in the TPRM world also. More guidelines, more expectations, more questions, and more expectations. Some industry is issuing mandates also. So if I say once again, the most it seems happening is in the financial sector across world. I am saying perhaps I listed 15 countries and 10 standards, etc. Either explicitly or implicitly talking about TPRM. So once again, it's up to my interpretation, how seriously I want to take it. It's my risk management. Ultimately, it's risk management. As I said, drop third and party from it.
Yeah.
It's risk management as simple as that. So I may ignore it within maybe my risk appetite. I don't want to implement BCM. I don't want to implement operational resilience because I can live with those risks. But if it's a calculated decision, well thought through decision, if I just close my eyes, there's nothing called TPRM. It's old winter management. Why do I need to go deep into that? Then I'm living with a big risk, I will say.
Yes. Yeah. Especially in today's world where there's so much going on
Yes,
everywhere, not just in one or two spots, but everywhere.
right. Yes,
So,
yes,
who are the third parties?
right. So vendor, first of all, for sure, they may be partners and suppliers. I'll go up to an extent which I have not spent a lot of time on yet, not mentioned in the book either that way. That our customers are also vendors or suppliers. They supply business to us. So if a supplier or vendor is a third party, then even customers are third parties. I know at least one professional fellow, very, very senior in our group, a professional world in the BCM, BCI resilience world, who has a different opinion. He says there are no third parties. And we have had some discussions around that, but we have not been able to go deep into that. But the rest of the world, I will say, everyone is admitting there is something called third party risk management. So, third parties, I'm repeating, vendors, suppliers, and partners, at least these three. So, it's more than just vendors. If you allow me, I would like to share a slide quickly.
Sure.
This is based on Reserve Bank of India, which is the regulator in India for financial sector. And they have in that guideline, which is operational risk management and operational resilience guideline from RBI. Examples have been given specifically, and it's a long list. While we can see clearly that it's only from IT view, direct selling agents. So banks, because RBI deals with banks and financial institutions, and also their IT portion, cash, ATM management, IT operations, advertising partners. We'll see a mix of, as I said, vendors, suppliers, and partners. All three mix. So this becomes a good example to understand this. This is not a comprehensive list, which is mentioned in the guidance document also. This is not a comprehensive list. This is just an example to understand. For last about 2 decades, I have spent in BCM, Alex, as practitioner, as trainer, consultant also. And every discussion will say, oh, Daman, but we have 500 vendors. Some go to thousands also. That's a long list of vendors only. If we look at partners and suppliers also, it will be much longer. So this is a big topic. That's what I mean to say by saying this and showing this slide. Good example to understand.
Yeah, quite a bit. On that note, we've come to the end of our first segment. Today, we are talking with Daman Sood and his new book, My Experiments with Third-Party Risk Management. And we will be right back. If you liked that video, thumbs up. If you didn't like that video, thumbs down. But leave me a message and let me know your thoughts. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, stay prepared, everybody.